Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60 and Me. Now today I have been reflecting. On my life, and it's one of these things I do quite frequently. I just like to think back on things that I've done in my life, the careers that I've had, the people that I've worked with, and I also dive now and again into a little bit of nostalgia. So I was thinking about nostalgia when I decided to do something quite strange. Now, before I start, I wanted to let you know that I go to our Brocky, our little charity shop, quite often. And today I picked up something that was very unique. Yes, I'm going to put it on. It's a tie. Now, I bought this because I loved the material. And this was definitely nostalgia because it reminded me of my early days when I used to love flowers and floral prints. I was a real little hippie. I mean, I think a lot of us were, but this was the kind of thing that I would have worn. I just love this material. But I found it's 100% silk. And I thought, back in my life, in terms of my marriage and my career, I was surrounded by men. And men have a kind of a bad rap with fashion because this is all they've got to work with is a tie. Usually, I mean, this is the olden days, right? The days that I remember working in the corporate world. But I thought I'd put this tie on, and if I can remember how to do this now. How many times you put a tie on for your husband or for your son if you've got one of those? Or okay, so I think this is how you do it. Then you bring it through here. It's a very beautiful tie. And I was thinking to myself, I'd like to know either the person that bought this, the man that bought this tie, or the woman that bought it for him, because this is a really cool, very unusual, it's not very masculine in the traditional sense, tie. So there we go. If I can make this work. Is this pretty? Okay, so I thought I'd wear this tie today. I probably messed it up a bit, but there you go. I think it's done. There, looks not bad. I know you do it higher and everything else, but I just thought it made a pretty necklace. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so let's get on with nostalgia and reflection, because I think that nostalgia is one of these things that can hold us back and can get us into a loop, because we start thinking about the situations, about the people that we knew, the men that wore these ties, all those things, and you can get in this mental loop that kind of can sometimes turn to depression and sadness, because we look back with kind of, I don't know, just remorse and guilt maybe, or sadness, or just not, things weren't perfect, things weren't the way we wanted them to be, but we survived, and we now have an opportunity, instead of looking backwards with nostalgia, to look back and reflect on the things that we learned, the things that brought us to where we are today. The compassion, the decisions, the losses, the things that really helped us to grow into the woman that we are now. We've constantly been changing and striving for new recreation all of our lives. It's kind of what the whole point of it this is, isn't it? Really, to be able to, go through life's ups and downs, to understand your own personal style of living, your own personal style of loving. The things that attract you to a person, the things that don't, the boundaries that you have had to create maybe over your life to be happy and fulfilled. But all these things are like, reflecting on all these things can be super helpful and super powerful if we start to take it seriously and do it with an open heart, reevaluating the meaning of one's life. Now, it's a life review process, but it's a life review process that focuses on the lessons and on the goodness and on the achievements, and through the losses and through the ups and downs, not looking back and being nostalgic, wishing that we could be somewhere else at another time, another place, another situation. So this article actually by Renee Langmuir, one of our bloggers, really inspired me to talk about this, because it isn't just something that happens when you retire, although it could be something that's more prevalent in retirement, because you've actually got now time to kind of think, well, what was that job all about? What was that person wearing that tie for? What was the reality of my life during that time? It's not just for retirement. It's time that we look back just in general as we get older. She talks about Carl Jung's stages of kind of the old age list of to-dos, and 7 tasks of old age, I think is what he called it. Well, this is Carl Jung, but he anyway said that these are the 7 tasks that we have to deal with as we get older. First, the reality of living and dying. The reality of it. The creating a life review, conducting a life review. with the focus on reflecting, not so much on the nostalgia. Defining life realistically. And it's really funny. We get a lot of I've got a lot of comments recently when we were talking about retirement, living on a budget. People saying to me, "What can I do, Margaret? What can I do? And how can I change my situation, make it better?" And the thing that I always have gone back and said is to be realistic. You may want this and this and this, but you aren't going to have that because of the situation you're in, the decisions you've made that have brought you to where you are. So living life realistically is, the third most important thing, the task, as we get older. The fourth thing is letting go of ego. Now, this is all about letting things go, because our ego in Carl Jung's world and Freud's world was all about, the attachment to family and people and the tangled webs that we would get, when we want something that is just not authentic, that it's something that an ego is related to our external desires and passions and wants. So getting rid of ego and becoming ego-less in the sense you don't care what people think about you. You don't, you understand that there's may have been separations and estrangement in your life, and that's just how it's going to be. But, being able to let go of ego, not be so attached to your image, to your self-image, and go deeper into the subconscious mind, into the, the unconscious part of living. Another thing is rooting. This is the fifth thing in the 7 tasks. Oh, I just realized I've only got 6. Finding a new rooting in yourself, finding that you're comfortable with the person that you are. That's the next thing as you get older. And finally, determining the meaning of one's life and death and spiritual rebirth. And that's the rediscovery of spirit in your life, whether that's your God or it is, something bigger than you. It is I hate the universe when people talk about, the universe, but, is there something more? Is there something deeper? Is there something meaningful in what you've been through, in the life that you have lived? So I think those are the stages of aging, and I need to go back and find out what number 7 was. Maybe you can, if you're watching this, Brenna, you can tell me what I missed. But it gets back to that point about nostalgia versus reflection. Reflection is an analytical process of, considering the positives and negatives and making making assessments of where you've been through. It's a positive thing. It's something that you can look at and live and grow through it. Nostalgia is focusing on the emotional longing for the past, looking back at the past and having an emotional desire to go back there. While reflection is about insight, nostalgia is kind of about comfort. It's about feeling, I wish I could go back to that time, or I was really happy during that time. It made me feel good. I felt comfortable. Whereas the reflection might be a little bit more bumpy, but it gives you insight. It gives you a vision into what happened and why it was important and so on. So the dark side of nostalgia, I think, can be harmful, and it's important to watch it and turn it. If you can pivot the emotion, if you go back and think, gosh, that was such a great time of my life. And then look, but the reason was because I was making my own decisions. I was earning an income, and I made decisions that took me in another direction or whatever. You can take that nostalgia and twist it. I think that, is this something that I'm just rambling on about? Do you get this? Do you understand the difference between nostalgia and reflection? I did actually ask this question to our 60andMe YouTube channel, the community page. And by the way, if you're not signed up for our YouTube channel, go there, because I do videos 4 times a week. And also we have a daily question that I ask there, and it's kind of cool. And people get into the conversation. And the question was simply, do you tend to reflect or have nostalgia about the past? And actually about 65% said reflection, or many said both. And that was a good answer too, but not a very small percentage really. I felt that they were comfortable going back into the past and having this nostalgic view of their lives. So there wasn't a golden time. Maybe you can perceive it like that when you go back through the eyes of nostalgia, but it wasn't ever a golden time. It was just a time. It was a time when things were lined up a little bit different. So I think it's important to create some distance between the memories of the past and the things that you idealized, and that come out in a world of nostalgia and comfort and longing for, and focusing on the future, on the future as is shaped by the past. Does this tie look silly? I don't know. I just looked at it again. I was actually in my mind thinking I would take it off halfway through, but I guess I've left it there the whole time. But anyway, I kind of like it. Has anybody else worn a tie recently? I don't know. Maybe that's nostalgia for me. I feel comfortable with, the past sometimes. But anyway, it's just a conversation about what is now. And I'm wearing a tie as opposed to reflecting on men that I may have liked in ties. I don't know. Anyway, if you find yourself looking back with nostalgia, that's okay now and again, but then turn it around to something more positive and reflect on where it's brought you and the great places that you're at right now, okay? So, tell me what you engage in mostly, reflection or nostalgia? Let's have a conversation. Okay, everybody, have a fabulous day wherever you are. I hope you enjoyed this little chat. I found it was quite fun, and I think I'm going to just wear this tie all day. Why not? Take good care, everybody. Sending you lots and lots of love. All the best.